everyone. Today we'll talk about how does DXC help AI adoption acceleration with our clients. So the adoption of AI and actionable insight usage across industry are not inconsequential. There has been hundreds of millions of bottom line savings and top line growth for many organizations. However, it has failed to become mainstream. Neither has it been democratized. Every organization has taken some form of AI initiative. However, around 80% of the AI models don't even go to production. So AI value realization has always been an uphill challenge. So the question that leaders who wants to take steps towards accelerating AI adoption are asking is, what are the three things that I need to do to kind of proactively drive business value with AI? Okay. So what our answers are actually like impactful AI strategy, like AI-driven business outcomes impacting top-line growth needs to be an integral part of your boardroom discussion. The next one is about crisp operating model, breaking the organizational silos to drive higher interoperability to work as multidisciplinary team in a pod needs to be one of the key focus of your Office of Value Realization. The third one is about unified value definition, quantitative and qualitative outcome definition with KPIs that are aligned to those outcomes and communicated with transparency to all level of the organization is pivotal. In order to pivot to an exponential growth, the adoption of decision intelligence that is powered by AI is imperative. Otherwise, there is a high chance that organization utilizing AI will outperform the organization that have not adopted AI. And also what Gen AI has done is like push the boundaries. Now AI is becoming a tectonic shift in business and IT, and the industry is both like excited and apprehensive about the whole AI landscape. But the good thing is the wave have started making people think harder than they would on how to proactively drive business values with AI. Okay, so this is a traditional way of looking at enterprise transformation office. When a survey was taken across around Fortune 200 companies on what is the hindrance of adoption of AI in organization, 9% said it's technology, 82% said it is people and process and culture. And the only way to bridge the gap is leverage actionable insight to influence the value realization. So instead of thinking about the three pillars of transformation, people, process, and technology, add a fourth dimension to this equation, which is adaptive AI that would power the decision intelligence for your business. This will influence all the three pillars in a matrix fashion and bring them together to work coherently and seamlessly. See, a simplified and transparent communication of strategy of AI across cross-functional teams is necessary. And if you want to accelerate results, a top-down and bottoms-up approach must be taken. So identifying the business functions and creating a playbook that will enable easy navigation and interaction between organization teams and business boundaries, right, must be a part of the Office of Value Realization. The more we can commoditize and remove the complexity of the implementation, the science will soon become an art of how swiftly we navigate through the enterprise boundaries and lines of business, greatly influencing the success and failure of AI. So now let's look at what are the building blocks for vision to value conversion. So insight needs to be embedded at the right point of time, at the right node of the data value chain in order to maximize, else it exponentially loses value. Okay, so every organization's mileage will definitely vary as I mean, depending upon how ambitious you want to get adopting AI as a culture of your organization. However, you need to focus on few basic blocks, which is what we are going to talk about here. The first one is operationalizing. Ensure sustainability of foundation capabilities. So what it entails is like building sustainable AI product with repeatability, explainability, and are core to the building blocks. See, this establishes a confidence and reliability of AI implementation, which is in turn helping accelerate adoption. So DXC augments customer needs with AI solution accelerators. We have been doing this much before the Gen AI era and continue to do so in the generative AI space. So spreading AI literacy while strengthening the foundational capabilities such as transparency, quality, and even traceability of data will secure the backbone of AI. The next is about democratizing and augmenting the ways of working to foster AI citizen development. So DXC enables contextualizing AI applicability in order to overcome the ethical boundaries to establish a responsible AI framework and an ecosystem. Okay, so we design solutions to be able to harness collaborative efficiency of biological and machine brains, augmenting each other in day in the life. AI citizen development is already a reality with Gen AI. Like solutions are in like fingertips now. We need to now evolve for right set of application in right business context. The next one is about commoditizing. So driving simplicity of solution with continuous reduction in price will make AI available to all formats of business organization. In DXC, we scale AI implementation with strong design principles of like thriving towards making sustainable and repeatable AI products with solutions to drive better ROI. The next one is about mainstreaming. So success of embedding AI into culture of your organization will greatly influence the success or failure of AI as mainstream. So reimagining the future with ability to leverage insights across industries, not only within your organization, but across industries and partners will become a new normal. So industry will come together to create that kind of a global consortium where we can collaboratively drive economic and even social progress and put the regulations at a global level and standardize common vocabulary. Okay. So next, what we'll look into it is a perspective which has been gathered from different researchers that we have done. What we see here are the different types of model that exist currently in industry between supervised learning versus neural network, Gen AI, reinforcement learning, and others. If you take this as the baseline, what we see as the future as a relative growth on the types of models is what is on the right-hand side. The existing models will be augmented by generative AI while growing organically by itself. Also, the rate of Gen AI growth will probably be much higher, as you see in the representation as well, given the democratization that it is enabling across lines of business. So we are doing augmentation of generative AI in different ways. Example is like evolving the foundation model with prompt engineering, which is augmented by reinforcement learning. Another example where we are augmenting classical model with generative AI is in the manufacturing space. So what we have done is we have created a scratch detection model for car in the manufacturing line using computer vision models. And as a result, we could reduce the returns from dealers, which is a heavy cost implication. However, we could not get beyond 84% accuracy as there were not many images for edge cases like scratches on the curved surfaces or scratches on the reflection surfaces and others. Through multimodal generative AI, we generated new images and retrained the computer vision model, which increased the efficacy of the existing computer vision model by 3% point. So all these models will in future probably coexist, but the rate at which they will grow will vary. Okay. So now let's look into some different types of AI models. So we discussed till now about strategy, building blocks required for conversion of vision to value and operating model. And now we'll deep dive on the execution framework and that we need to enable accelerating the different implementation. But that depends upon the different types of AI implementation that are there. So let's do a little bit deep dive on that. So different types of model that exists. One is custom model, like tailored for specific use cases for complex scenarios. There are frameworks available for that, but there is a heavy lifting of feature engineering, identifying models and deployments. The next one is AutoML. So that helps identification of models that needs to be used given a data set and target scenario. Another variation is Model API. This is the simplest form where you need to host the endpoint and score models. And then comes generative AI, where we have the foundational model that you evolve from. So now let's look at the effort that is required for these models and model types and in different phases of the development lifecycle. And the development lifecycle being the first one being data preparation, which is like data labeling, cleansing, and augmentation, whereas model building, which is training, pruning, hyperparameterization, and then deploying at scale to maximize that ROI, deploying at edge, continuously monitoring for drift and others. So the 4 types of implementation in the different models that we saw in the previous slide needs different amount of effort across these phases, and the depth of the color, you will understand that how much effort needs to be put. The first one, if we take AutoML, there is heavy lifting in the data prep and the deployment. However, if you take custom model building, that will need a lot of effort across all the phases. Generative AI, depending upon how much p-tuning and fine-tuning you do, might or might not involve data preparation, but there is an effort for deploying the models and continuously monitoring, whereas Model API needs mostly the work is about endpoint integration and, again, monitoring the model. Okay. Now, so to address the adaptive AI embedding challenge, DXC has come up with frameworks. Now, with all these different types of models that you have and different types of implementation that you have, the question is about how fast can we go to market? How can we do cross-platform collaboration more repetitively and for AI products, and scaling across different line of business and other challenges of expertise available in the market. So DXC has accelerators for adaptive AI product development lifecycle, from data prep, feature engineering, for classical models, fine-tuning, and even generative AI deploying at edge. So what we have done is, we have also been seeing that unless you have a wrapper of around the AI product, around methodologies that you bring to the table of how to convert from vision to value. So we also have built frameworks for enterprise to enable impactful strategy and crisp operating model. So, and then also, we have also looked into how to build a collaborative AI platform with our accelerators and sustainable operations with AI ops, ML ops, and LLM ops. So now we'll do a deeper dive into the biggest challenges that we have seen in the first 2 blocks, which is strategy and operating model, and how we have created our accelerators and methodologies to overcome them. So the biggest challenge has been adoption of AI across business unit with a lack of common objective metric. So alignment across organization on processes on which node of data of the value chain should it be more optimal to embed inside, needs longitudinal consideration and deep understanding of the business processes. So DXC brings frameworks together, like to baseline the current state of AI implementation, to do the initial assessment of gaps, finding the roadblocks of not able to accelerate time to market, and then the pockets of inefficiencies. Then we go through the deep design thinking sessions with key stakeholders in the ideation phase to map out the strategic need and importance and implications of the impacts. Then during the value identification phase, we do the value stream map across enterprise and map out the qualitative and quantitative ROI driven through the AI initiatives and augment existing AI strategy. We put a definition of operating model and establish the framework of what is required for an Office of Value Realization with predefined methodologies. We also map out the use cases, long-term, short-term, that would be aligned to the strategic need of the company, and identify the bridges that needs to be taken in order to kind of close the gap between organizational silos to drive the AI-driven models in production, in applications, and at edge. We also enable contextualization of the usage of the insight, as ethics are really not a checklist, right? It can be defined only at the context of applicability of the AI-driven insight. So, and all these work are focused in the value realization phase. What we do next is about subsequently, we will start an advisory engagement that would include an MVP with the proposed frameworks, in addition to planning out the phase-wise AI execution, continuously collaborating with the IT and the business team for planning the outcome-driven AI initiatives. And the fourth step is about actually getting into the value realization phase, where you are continuously in the cycle of deploying, whether it be tactical or scale deployments, which is when companies starts pivoting to the end state of what business outcomes can look like. Then there is obviously the support model that continuously improves and then feeds back to the value identification phase. So the next one we'll talk about is the lower boxes. So if you look into the AI product development, the AI platform, collaborative platform, as well as the support. So there are multiple challenges during this phase. I mean, if the standard library missing across implementation, non-repeatable experiments, data quality challenges, and transparency of the metrics are siloed, no process for data bias detection, and then performance loss for full data sets. Working on local machines, then no planning for complex application integrations, and then even non-optimized training cycles. Right. So for all these challenges that we have seen, we have really created 3 sets of framework and to strengthen the foundation. The first one being, we have designed a collaborative workbench where simulation of synthetic data and a framework for verification and validation of scenario variations are key to the whole this collaborative workbench. Data quality and training data bias is very important, because most of the time we are seeing that the non-representative data sets in the training phase is causing bias. Creating a knowledge graph is essential to drive transparency in AI insights embedding, and also enabling transparency with ontology across the business functions to seamlessly navigate where in the value chain the insight generation makes maximum sense. So next one that we have is created on the basis of keeping in mind the edge scale deployment. So scaling enterprise grade model with inferences and linked models, reproducibility, and the scenario generations depending upon each scenario combination is essential for this edge deployment. Also, enabling data contract templates, enabling higher degree of interoperability across enterprise, which is critical for embedding insights in operational systems. Also, what we have included is pre-created templates for scaled and continuous deployments of models, including optimized containerized workloads. The third portion of our accelerator and the framework includes a design framework for software development. So that enables multi-tenancy by line of business, or even external collaboration on models with third-party partners that you may have. Frameworks for measuring KPIs and metrics for model evaluation and scoring, We have templatized workflows by business functions for usability. We have also enabled multi-cloud integration for binary files and data exchange. And these are also available in the framework as a template. So all these standardizations are driving like AI ops simplification, and ultimately helps bend the cost curve for the spend that industry is seeing on maintaining an AI platform. So next, what we'll talk about is, in the next few years, companies that embrace decision intelligence will definitely see a difference in their mode of operation. So we are in an inflection point where DXC and our clients must deploy and manage decision intelligence solution to enable the outcome-based execution models, as well as revolutionize the customer experience, product development, and governance process in a rational and very intelligent manner to accelerate business outcomes. It's just not an R&D project anymore, and this has become immense importance to drive the KPIs of organizations. So our strategy is to, as you will see in the wheel, AI service portfolio is to efficiently embed AI with existing DXC solution framework, as well as pre-built accelerators and modeling techniques, and state-of-the-art value stream driven solutions, leveraging additional innovation from industry partners, as well as bringing the process and the people and the culture together. So we help customers think big, smart small, but steadily progress. So our North Star is to kind of collaborate and evangelize with our customers, industry leaders, and even peers to build the sustainable momentum and drive exponential value. What we have also done is our solution approaches are embedded in Azure Marketplace. We have 10,000 plus AI practitioners and 19,000 plus data analytics professionals. So who have knowledge not only about what is upcoming, what is the next new Gen AI model, but what has worked and not worked in the past. So the future is not unknown to them from the decision-making perspective of whether there are bottlenecks of a particular implementation. They can readily avoid it because they know what has worked and not worked in the past. So on the generative AI capabilities, like other companies, we have also focused a lot on generative AI. However, we are not only prototyping with customers, we have leveraged internally to drive efficiency, these kind of generative AI model. The productivity across the organization has increased tremendously, and there is definitely a bottom line improvement that we are seeing. We have a use case specific to customers as well. We are driving tremendous momentum with that. We are doing multiple prototypes with customers for specific business use cases with strong collaboration with Microsoft, and creating a value map of our customers, helping them make AI-driven decision more relevant in this new way of working of every individual throughout the organization. And the use case vary even with the line of business, and contextualization is very much important. That's why we have created a dedicated team who kind of works by industry with the customers to create those value adds. Ultimately, helping democratization and steadily reducing the cost of implementation of AI products will help the adoption. We need to nurture the momentum and have a very entrepreneurial mindset and keep the innovation going in this era of AI. Thank you.